So Brian, thanks for those who have been here before. And if this is your first time coming, Brian Borosic, Center for Community Health Integration here at Case Western Reserve University. So let us begin. Going to do a little screen sharing at first, but there's not going to be a whole lot of visuals today. But I figured I should do a little something to kind of get us situated and try to build off of the previous week's themes. So thank you again, Brian. So this is session number 3 of our 12 session, first maiden voyage of trying to do this 12-week seminar series. So thank you if you've been here before and this is your first time. Thank you for being here as well. So as I said in the very first week, the first session, kind of made my argument for sort of why do I think I have something to say? Why do this seminar series? Why am I calling it marketing driven systems change? So in the very first session, I held up my used copy of this textbook from 1973 by Laser and Kelly. I bought it to use when I was getting my PhD, and I still have the Amazon receipt in the book. Didn't bring it with me today, but this is a little slightly different looking cover version of this book. But it came out in 1973. To me, it kind of captures sort of how I think about what social marketing can be, especially the academic parts of it. So I know they say don't read what's on the slides, but we have ambitions of turning this into audio and getting it out there distributed. So I will read it for anybody who's just going to listen to the audio. So for me, from Laser and Kelly, social marketing is the branch of marketing concerned both with the uses of marketing knowledge, concepts, and techniques to enhance social ends, as well as with the social consequences of marketing policies, decisions, and action. Building off of that, continuing, it refers to the study of markets and marketing activities within a total social system. So that's from 1973, and I think if you're already familiar in the social marketing academic field, academic community, social marketing community, I would assume that is maybe a little bit broader, maybe a little different than how you think about social marketing. So that's part of the argument that I made in week 1 is that I think the academic parts, which is a part of the social marketing field that I'm primarily in, I think we could be doing a better job of producing research that meets the needs of sort of our operating environment. And part of that is combining systems thinking with social marketing. So that's why I'm calling this marketing driven systems change. It's not just about studying how marketing can be applied for social good or social ends. And it's not, in my argument, not just about sort of studying the effects of marketing on the social problems that we try to address, but markets as well. And I think couldn't have picked a better topic today with you and I than the topic that they're studying for their dissertation to sort of help make the case about why it's not just marketing per se, but also markets. So hopefully that'll be a little more clear here momentarily. So again, from the very first session, you saw this if you were there. If not, it's on the YouTube channel, and we'll get you the link if you don't have it. So this is from Kim Warren, who presented their model of sort of what makes up a field. And let me minimize this a sec. So what makes up a field? This was from week 1. And so when things are rolling well and they're doing good, so you have the users, those who commission and, for example, want social marketing, pay for social marketing. And then you have the practitioners who do the social marketing, consultants, firms, agencies like that. So the users and the practitioners come together. The practitioners apply methods to do work, and that work, in order to help sustain the field, help it grow in a sustainable way, that work has to become known. So the cases have to be known. They have to get out there. They have to be shared, written about, disseminated. And so when things are operating well, more known cases will feed in to drive a demand for even more new innovative methods. And then the methods will drive even more work. So you get sort of a nice reinforcing type of feedback loop going. Who develops the methods, who innovates, not solely, but largely in the social marketing space. I think this fits because it's largely the academics part of the role. Those of us who are in the social marketing academic part of the system, it's up to us, not solely, but largely to be developing, testing, innovating, trying to come up with new methods, new measures, approaches, frameworks. And so we do that in conjunction with our students. So the students and the academics, they publish. The articles help build the scholarly reputation of a field. So as the scholarly reputation of a field grows, that draws in more new professors, it draws in more new students who create more new academics. You get more new methods, and then the system is happily chugging along. So that was Kim Warren's model of sort of what makes up a field. And I saw it at the 2013 Solar System Dynamics Conference. I never forgot about it. And I keep sort of coming back to it and thinking about it for the field of social marketing. So I'm largely over here on the left. And so that's largely where I'm coming from, about talking about sort of how we, as the academics, can reorient and do a better job of not just sort of think in terms of what the social marketing methods can be to address social problems, but the markets and the systems that drive the social problems that we work on in the first place. So that's why I'm calling this seminar series Marketing-Driven Systems Change. Okay, so who is this for? What's in it for you if you're here today? You've also seen this before, but here at the center of our concentric circles, so we've got the social marketing academics, which was kind of to the left side of the diagram that I was showing a moment ago. So the faculty, the soon-to-be faculty, the students. I think hopefully it's evident what's in it for you today. So happy to talk to you, a doctoral candidate. A little broader is the entire social marketing field. So we're going to be talking about the fantastic doctoral research that they've been doing. And outside of that, if you're here today as consider yourself a change maker, maybe you're not in the social marketing field or don't consider yourself part of it, but you are a change maker, you work on social change, could be a community coalition leader, particularly if your topic or area that you work on is pertaining to environment. There's going to be lots for you today to stick around for. And then happy also to have, if you're maybe not in any of those inner circles, you're a global citizen, a concerned citizen, somebody who cares about this marble that we're on. I think you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to see, learn more about U.S. research. So today's guest, you and she, PhD candidate and learning relatively new, some good news, associate lecturer, social marketing at Griffith University, Australia. So we did put in the chat a couple of links. So thank you for advance, you for sharing. There's a link to this Global E-Waste Monitor 2024. So I was saying, I don't think could have picked a better topic to have you on to sort of make the easy connection in my mind. What are the connections between markets, marketing, and sort of social problems that e-waste leads to, and then how social marketing is applicable for trying to address those social ills. And then also there was a link in the chat, not exactly to the paper by Sharon and colleagues on their CBE framework, but I thought it might be a little more useful because not everybody might have access to read the full copy of the paper. So the link I believe I put in the chat will take anybody who's online right now or later to a Griffith page where you have a little more interactive opportunity to play with the CBE framework. So those should be in the chat. Okay, so again, thank you. So I won't go on much longer, just trying to sort of set the context. And so for me, this was very easy prepping and very enjoyable getting to know you over the couple of weeks and going forward as well. So this is not my space, so they will correct me for anything that I misspeak, but this is a very prime topic for what I see as this application of this idea of marketing-driven systems change. So thank you for that. Now, I've gone ahead and underlined some of the parts here from the forward because I didn't have to go past the forward before I started really seeing systems and seeing system dynamics just popping out at me. And so when you get into systems thinking, and for me, it's system dynamics, it becomes part of your worldview. So I've underlined a few things here. So from the forward of the global, the e-waste monitor, so many people own and use multiple electronic devices. Okay, so there's flows, there's a stock accumulating of these things. There's a concomitant surge in the amount of EE and e-waste. At the same time, the global e-waste collection and recycling rate is not keeping pace with this growth. So already I see that and I start thinking that the inflows and the outflows are not keeping pace and we're ending up with accumulations or stocks of things that are not good. So continue with the underline down here, the rise in e-waste generation is outpacing the rise in formal recycling. And much of the equipment is originally used. So speaking of now equity issues as well, much of the equipment originally used in developed countries and it gets shipped for further use to developing countries. And so over here to the other paragraph, monitoring e-waste quantities and flows. From a system dynamics person, your brain's firing off when you see that word flows. So things that are moving through a system. It's essential for evaluating developments, dynamics, changes over time. However, without a comprehensive and representative picture of the global e-waste challenge, the true extent of this waste stream and the negative externalities it creates will remain unknown. So this is custom made for trying to talk about this idea of integrating systems thinking and social marketing. So I promise I don't have much more, Yua, but this was just very easy and fun for me to make the connections to the theme of the seminar series. So this QR code will take you to what's called the IC Exchange. I'm not presenting this, and the creator of this model, they weren't putting this out there as well as saying, this is it, this is the complete model to help you understand the dynamics of e-waste. But just to make the connections to the written passage and then how we diagram things like this in system dynamics, at the middle of the diagram here, I was saying stocks. So right, there's some sort of stock or accumulation of electronic waste. Where does it come from? It increases through inflows and you can decrease it through outflows. And if those things aren't in balance, you get an accumulation of electronic waste. And then where does the increase in waste come from? Well, the number of devices. So this was so easy, and I feel blessed that it was so easy to find a model on the exchange that, you know, if there's time at the end, I don't want to take any more time from the conversation with you, but this simulates, so you can go ahead and experiment with it, sort of understand a little bit more about the dynamics. So that's about all I want to say, but this was tailor-made for today's discussion. So let me sort of stop hogging all the time talking here and get out of the screen share. You, how did I do? Did I set the table pretty well for you?
It was absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for the introduction, Brian. It was mind-blowing. Thank you very much. I love that feedback loop a lot.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, so we'll get the I'll repaste the thanks, Robin. I'll repaste the links back down into the chat a few extra times for folks who are just coming on. So thanks anybody who just joined. So Brian and you here are going to have our conversation. So thank you for agreeing to be here, Yua. And I'm here in Cleveland time. You're over there in Australia. So we did prep, but we didn't rehearse because I enjoy sort of the back and forth and the not too rigid nature of it. So the first question I have in our prep was, in your LinkedIn, you have PhD candidate, pracademic social marketer. What is a pracademic social marketer?
So good question, Brian. So this is a term that we want to bridging the gap between, you know, practitioners and academics. And because of this, we're talking about system problems. And then, you know, people in the old time, people think, okay, academics they're just doing research, publishing papers, and that's it. And practitioners are doing things in the field. But in social marketing, such a multidisciplinary field, that we need to bridge in the gap. We need to use, you know, the theoretical framework to guide us to understand the intention, the reasoning, right, the cause. But then we need to combine with the field work together, you know, to make the change happens. So that is why we just feel like we shouldn't be like solely different groups. We should work together as a social marketers. And I think a lot of people they're working in this field, either they used to be in the industrial you know, field, and then they shift to the academics because they realize, okay, we need actually system knowledge to reshape our thinking and to come back to the wicked problem. And then when people in the academic world, they say, okay, we need to get down to the people, understand what are the stakeholders, you know, thinking, and what is the problem. We need to listening to them to understand, okay, this is the way that we should, you know, go along to the audience. Mm-hmm. That is why I just think I'm be the both. But then I feel like if we only use social marketer, it already defines both.
I saw that term pracademic. I might try that out and see sort of our community partners here, because it's often, you know, the academics and the community. So maybe if I actually introduce myself as pracademic, maybe it'll go over. So, I mean, you have like such a great background, and I just want to sort of open it up and let you sort of share, what was your journey to get to this point? And I know we talked about sort of October. You might be hopefully nearing the end of your doctoral studies, and that'd be a great day. But just like sort of have a space to talk about sort of your journey to get to where you're at, how you've got to Griffith University.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So basically, when I was younger, I'm always being very that's curious about the behaviors. And back then, I don't know, this is a, kind of faculty, this is a science sector that you can do in the search, behavior science. When I was younger, I just being so observative, trying to figure out why this happens, why the marketing, setting on price this way, how things are going, why consumers being attracted by this or that. Like we're talking about the 4 Ps, right? And then I think that is why after I worked, I did my undergrad with the economic law and then back to the working 4 or 5 years in the government, economic development, understand how the cities are building up. And then I'm pretty sure, no, this is not what I want because I have pretty open family education. My father has been working on the solar energy in his entire life, and he used to working at UN. So that's why I'm being educated in both Western and the Eastern way. So I feel like, no, I need to go out to learn more. So I studied my master's degree, Master of Business in the University of Queensland. I started with marketing, but then I feel like, no, this is something you need to learn from the practical world. So I shifted my major towards organizational sustainability and international business, and also did global exchange program to go to Amsterdam University to study circular economy. That's how everything, kind of puts everything together. This is what I want. And sustainability is kind of cliche word, being overly used, and how do you narrow it down? And then, but still, I didn't know if research is the way because I was like, I'm more practical. I want to be, practitioner to just down to the field. And then after I did my internship with the Public Health Research Center, it was a good timing with the COVID time. So they were working on data and, stakeholder engagement. How do we, solve this kind of, natural disasters, crisis in around the world? I realized, I want to work with these advanced people who are at least are doing PhD candidates. I want to get the top of the, whatever what current studies are doing. I want to learn more. So, but I wasn't really holding a research experience before. And trying around the way, trying to ask all the different supervisors and professors, and they all said, no, it's impossible, girl. You're an international student. This is the COVID. There's no chance for the finance support for the scholarship. Just, find another way, try to different path. So yeah, it was pretty depressed almost half the year until Sharon Randatili, the director of the social marketing at Griffith. I was kind of being introduced to her after I shared my value, my insights about circular economy and behavior change. Boom, social marketing came out. So I think it was just mind blowing. And Sharon was only senior professor said yes to me, and she sees potential in me. So that's when I studied everything since 2021 August, I remember. And yeah, and then I did redo everything from zero to studying the honors degree to get high distinction with my research experience with this social marketing center to working on koala conservation, river health, all the different projects, and then trying to publish work and was able to get full scholarship from the Australian government. Now I'm in the 3rd year with my PhD candidature focusing on e-waste reduction. Yeah, so that's kind of my journey. How did I get into the social marketing? Sorry, I know it's a lot.
Oh no, I mean it's impressive. I think you keep talking, but we want to talk about your research on e-waste as well. And I love it when I see somebody, because I didn't have a marketing background per se when I came into social marketing. So when I see somebody who has it, I'm like, oh, that's so great that we have somebody else
Yeah.
that background in marketing. So I think so. Thank you for sharing. I think that helps sort of folks understand a little more about how you came to the research topic, and so what we're going to talk about. So in our prep, you were kindly sort of helped me understand sort of 3 studies that make up your doctoral research. And so if we can take these in turn, the first one involves very much a theory-guided approach to sort of understanding e-waste and then looking at recycling solutions. So how about just to leave it up to you to maybe introduce that first study for us. And I've got a few prepared questions, but I'll keep looking at the chat here in the Q&A to see if anybody else wants to take a first question as you describe this first study for us.
Thank you, Brian. So basically, back to the theme of today, we are focusing on the system change. That was the reason that why I started using COMBI, so capability, opportunity, motivation, behavior framework. So that is originally came from the behavior change wheel. And the reason we picked that because I believe this is not individual problem and it has to go, outside to see how systems playing. And then from the previous research, they're all most of, let's say, studies when they apply theories, and then the theories are more psychologically, individually focused. Let's say TPB, theory plan behavior, right? This kind of being highly used, trying to discover the intention, what's your, kind of perception and how do you, behave yourself. But then we're talking about behavior change, so we need to focus on the solution direction. So how can we help? Therefore, to applying the the COMBI theoretical framework, we were able to understand to map down how people's thoughts, insights, to sit into the COMBI framework. So we actually capture the three different factors from capability. So one is a skill. So basically, do you have skill to actually to find a website, to find the location, drop of your e-waste, and are you able to even to hire a car? So when your job of e-waste, in terms of bigger pile or small pile, are you able to make everything safely being zipped? For example, leaky batteries, right? So there all comes down to the, your skills. And then the other factor of capability would be your, let's say, do you have knowledge? Do you know about that? What's your awareness and how much do you know? And then there was a very interesting quote from one of my 19 interviews, which I set up 3 different groups. So experts, in e-waste sector, circular economy, and then we have, let's say, individual consumers, and then the other field would be the, industrial partners. So one of my actually individual consumers, they actually, she has a doctoral degree, and we thought, okay, you have really high advanced knowledge base, and you should be able to know everything. However, she said, no, actually I chuck all the e-waste and mobile phones cables into the general bins. So it comes to 2 backgrounds. One, we don't have this kind of facilities around us, and then I don't know what to do, and it's not convenient to find all other things. Second, I know consciously, I know those shouldn't be going to the e-waste bin, but come on, I'm so busy with 1,000 other things. This is what I'm going to do, chuck into the bin, that's it. So that was kind of interesting. And then that comes down to the opportunity. So because they are talking about it's not convenient, there's no facilities, I don't know where is the drop of bins, right? So it comes down to the opportunity. So we capture the 8 out of the 18 factors they're talking about opportunity that comes down to your social environment, your, let's say, legislation, policy, and then do you have social awareness? And when I was interviewing people from Germany, and they basically naturally, no, we shouldn't put e-waste into the general bin because this is how we grew up. We need to separate them into a specific location. So how your culture would shape your behavior, that is very interesting. And then so that is not going to work together if you're not motivated. As I said, everyone has 1,000 million things to do. If you have family, you have a job pressuring you, you need to pay your bills and how much you want to pay attention on a pile of e-waste, and it's okay just to leave it into your drawer, right? So in the motivation wise, people were considering about, okay, what about, the battery, the data leaking? So, a lot of, IT service, they just store your, information and publish online, and all, let's say, people have conscious about, okay, that might have problem with, let's say, environment, because I've heard some, children being sent to the hospital because they swap the button battery, and that happens like in the regular base. Sorry about using this word, regular base in Australia. People are sending their children to the hospital because they accidentally swallowed the button battery, or their pets, dogs, and cats. So they heard this, and then another thing, still, most people still, from my first study, over 60% of people still stock their e-waste at home. So basically, normally I would try to ask question, in front of my audience, do you have your unused phones or cables, things you're not using anymore, but you actually keep them in your house, in your drawer, your garage? Please just, just type 1. or yes into the chat, or feel free to. Brian, do you have these things at your house?
I don't know. The universe was conspiring just 2 nights ago. I washed one of my earbuds in my flannel shirt in the washer, and now it's ruined. And I probably would have pitched it out, to be honest with you, but now I'm not. I don't know what to do with it now. But I'm not going to throw it in the garbage because now you've influenced me. I'm not joking.
Yeah, that's right. Because most people, that's a good part that we want to encourage behavior, because most people, almost 99% of people in my interviews, they said, we don't think they should go into the bins. So that's why something, even you don't know much about e-waste, but no, it shouldn't be into any of the bin. That's why a lot of people, you keep them into the drawer because of emotional attachment. I have photos, or let's say, I might be the backup, I'm not sure the new phone is going to, use it again. So that's kind of very interesting insights around the system. And that is why, back to the thing, we want to working on more like opportunity in trying to bridging the gaps between the capability and the motivation. Thank you, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Let me take a quick peek here, see if anybody wants to. Okay, feel free to ask questions. I don't want to be the only one, but I do have one, so I'll go ahead first. So, from this first study, so you mentioned the COM-B framework, capability, opportunity, motivation, behavior. I should have done my homework beforehand, but so it's maybe a nice tie from Samir and I's conversation previously. We were talking about Mike Rothschild's old framework from motivation, opportunity, ability, and how you can segment into 8 cells and help you decide whether you can use marketing or maybe an education approach or a policy approach. So is capability the same thing as ability, or is capability different than ability?
Great question, Brian. I've been asked 1,000 times, and that was actually first question when I select this, model instead of MLA framework. And basically, from my understanding as a foreign language study, things that, concept, the capability provides me a larger environment. So ability for me, it's more, let's say, you're able to do something naturally. You're able to do something. It's more internally individualized. But capability gives you the power. What is your learning capacity? Are you able to, I know I'm using able to again, but are you able to do something more with this, provided environment, opportunity, other things? So for me, capability is more, let's say, in the system level, and more, let's say, beyond internal. Like, how are you able to eat? Are you able to play sports? But the capability more tends to, let's say, touch on the external environment and then to shape. So it's like everyone has different, capability to learn things, to rate things. And for example, I'm super sporty, and I keep talking to my colleagues, and I'm professional athlete. Don't argue with me. Yes, I am. Because I feel like I'm so strong when I'm learning sport and things. And so that's why I use capability. But another story for the whole why you're using ability or capability, I think the matter is you apply something to the context and you actually use it, make it work, as long as it's working. That's why we're trying to use another thing to say, call for, papers to try to use theories in one theory, same theory in different fields. And so we can see the differences. And the COM-B theory in an e-waste, now we're in Queensland, in Australia. What about in Cleveland, in US, right? So basically that is a major thing, because we have so many similarities in the academic work, but how do you see the difference? I think when people are using, the more people applied and feel like, oh, this is actually good, it's easy to use, I think I'll be more practical for people instead of, trying to understand, because really we have lots of theories when you start with your PhD. And it's really difficult to pick why you select this one instead of that. And I would say, oh, I use COM-B because this is the first theory that it come into my life when I started my, PhD, when I was waiting Professor Sharon outside of her office. And there was a COM-B theory paper actually on the wall. I was reading that. I feel like that clicks with my, value. That's why. So a lot of things put together. I think that was the reason that I select Combi, I think.
Well, I can say, as we go on to study two, there's a friend and colleague on the chat here on the session tonight from here in Cleveland that I'm working with, and you mentioned circular economy, and so we're trying to get something there. She's already doing something circular economy wise. We're trying to maybe see what role we could play as a center. So we'll keep the Combi framework in mind and then have a conversation with them to see if there's a way to incorporate that, and we could share learnings in different contexts and geographies. So study one, insights using that framework, and then study two. Now it's time to get into action, to be pracademic, right? So please go ahead and tell us about sort of study two and what you were testing out there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Brian. So basically, all my studies are continuous, and study one will be following by study 2 by 3, and then overall, actually, there are two different things. One is, let's say, because we introduced the CB framework, co-create, build, engage. That is a whole, let's say, pathway through my 3 studies. So we are trying to co-create all the insights from the key stakeholders, that's the individual consumers who are using, electronic devices, and let's say e-waste recycling partners, all the things people together. So basically using, insights from the study 1, okay, that is a co-created phase. We were able to, capture, okay, why people are not really recycling their e-waste properly. So we had, let's say, people feel like, I'm just lazy. That was the original quote from the from the interview. I'm lazy. People are lazy. I just can't be bothered. So basically, we provide, let's say, convenience for them. So from that, because I've been volunteering in the social enterprise subsection 33, I can type that into the chat later. So they are working on trying to, collect all the e-waste from the community, or let's say institutions, and trying to repair, reuse, repurpose. When nothing can be done, that would be the last circle of circular economy, right? Recycling.
Yeah,
so exactly. And then they've been doing so great. And during the, let's say, flooding time, because we're in Brisbane, we have flooding seasons, and they donated all the repaired or, let's say, redesigned, laptops to the local schools. And because a lot of students, they don't have financial, ability to purchase a laptop, personal laptop, when schools are closed. So they're helping people trying to use redesigned, let's say, electronic devices. Let's say, for example, the one is called water monitor. So that combines with, old cables, batteries from laptops, and then, little solar panel on top. So they put this little water monitor into the Brisbane River. They're able to test the water quality, and the data will be sent back to the center. So they're all the amazing designs. So that's why I feel like we share same all the value in common. We should, work together. So I've been volunteering their work, and then they were actually very kindly contribute 2 free e-waste bins to my, campus. So, and they said, when the bin is full, we're happy to come and collect all the e-waste. Therefore, with the, let's say, we provide one of the opportunities, right? We have the bin, and to tell people from the campus, let's say, segmentation, students and staff, because that is convenient. That was not rigorous segmentation step, because we didn't use that as, we didn't have much pool to hit the, standard when you are using segmentation, this approach. So we focus on the student staff, and then set up 2 e-waste bins in my campus, and then just in my office, we basically use another insight, because people are scaring about leaky batteries. They have children, they have elders, they have pets at home. Myself, after I took the pictures for the campaign, sorry, because my papers are on the review, otherwise I will share with that. So when I closely took pictures of the leaky batteries, I felt like a little bit vomiting, that kind of feeling. And so I'm pretty sure I was kind of poisoned by the leaky powders. So therefore, there is a point. Please do seal your batteries at home if that is, used, expand, and put into the safe container. So we use that as pictures that I took from the donated batteries, and I use in-kind contribution with the bins. And also we basically use all the marketing, strategies trying to promote people. Okay, there's a campaign going to happen. And that was a 2 weeks campaign. It was actually pretty successful because after the whole campaigning process, we were able to collect over 1.2 tons of e-waste. And the campaigning logo, campaigning, that's the pictures are all coming from our stakeholders. So we didn't decide everything. For example, the logo, we designed 3 different logos. And I set up that's a campus store during the market day. I asked all the students and the staff come to vote, which one you'd prefer. So they picked the logo, and then I chose the one being voted 80% of people, and this is the one going to be our logo. And then that's a really successful campaign. People have learned, okay, this is an e-waste girl. And if we have e-waste, we come to you. I also provided door-to-door surveys because my interviewee said, we're lazy. We don't want to come out. So I dragged my being to faculty, collect all the e-waste from the cables and set up, let's say, negotiated with our IT team because they're kind of slow on picking up e-waste and pretty fast. And then as long as I'm not taking anything with the data, so cables, monitors, mouse and other things I can take. So that was a great success, and the people can find me because faculties like you, if you have office and then the ton of piles of monitors in your corner or storage room, you want to use that room as a meeting room for your staff, right? So IT comes, let's say, maybe when you launch the appointment, they say, okay, 2 months later we will come. But then if you call me, I'll come in 20 minutes. So who would you choose, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's the second one that we used, actually applied, inspired by insights that we did from study 1 and applied 7 out of 8 social marketing benchmark criteria. And only we were not able to apply a segmentation. That was only 1. And then that is whole theoretical, let's say, informed and applied, tested theoretical framework, and it worked. So that was my study 2. And it was pretty, it's a little pilot. And we also had great help from social marketer from New Zealand, Phil. And he was absolutely amazing, very kind, and sharing with me how to design a social marketing campaign. As been talking, let's say we're talking about e-waste, and we're also talking about collaboration. Again, system thinking, right? So we need to collaborate, let's say program, designer and myself and and also the team, photographic designer, and we need social marketers knowledge and marketing-based knowledge. And we need people to support my supervisor, because after we sent, I remember it was 420 flyers into the car park to the windshield, and just put my little flyer there. And then we got complained in the following weeks, and everyone was writing emails and to my supervisor or center manager. I was like, oh my God, I am in trouble. I'm such troublemaker PhD candidate. My supervisor is going to fire me. And I was so kind of scared and went to my supervisor's office. I'm sorry, I know I did something terrible. I believe you have received all the letters. And you know what? Sharon is absolutely amazing. Sharon said, it's okay. It's okay. I've written back to them. 1, it is not commercial information. We're not for that's a profit. This is for environmental conservation. And we put them in a secure space. It won't be blown by the wind. And also, out of the end, you know what? You have successfully delivered the information, campaign information to everyone, including people who don't want to receive the message. I feel like, great. So
that's what you want as a supportive mentor.
Exactly. So so you can say that is a teamwork, absolutely teamwork.
Well, my friend and colleague here, Robin, has a question for you, and I'll if Robin would like to, I'll allow them. I'll unmute if Robin wants to. So I'll read what Robin put in. So Robin, thank you. So this is Robin, founder and leader here in Cleveland of Collective Citizens Organized Against Lead. Right, lead in e-waste. So I'm just getting into this and very interested in learning how to use social marketing to help elevate our organizations and trying to make it practical. And I'm a change maker. What steps would you recommend, I believe, to make it practical? We have Brian, but curious on your recommendation. So Robin, I'm putting in, allow you to talk if you want to unmute and have a conversation here briefly with you.
Thank you, Brian, very much. How you doing? Thank you for being part of our attendance. But again, as a change maker, just being introduced to the space by Brian and through our partnership, we do have Brian, but I was just curious from a change maker perspective, what would you recommend for us to kind of focus on getting started in social marketing?
Thank you
Out
very
of
much, Robin.
curiosity.
No, that was great question. And it's always the same question we ask ourselves when we start working on something. So I would say the first thing that I would do would be listening. Listening people who have problems and what are the problems and what is the context. So because you always need to put the problem into the specific context. As you know, all the difference from the different, that's the regional differences actually do make a difference when you're applying different theoretical framework. So I would say listening to the stakeholders, what do they say? What do they want? That would be the very first step I would do.
Okay, so we're on the right page. We've been working in the community now for over 15 years, focusing on family lead poisoning crisis and supporting the families that are impacted. So we get a lot of feedback. We have set our programs up based off of what we heard their needs was and trying to bring those spaces in front of them and providing support. So doing this work for so long, and I'm putting this challenge on Brian, but I want to be able to help. How do we take our 25 years of work and put it in systems that could give the message of the value of the work without so many words, because people aren't going to read all that it takes of our results, right? And also the help of system dynamics and circular loops, we're getting into that for the same reason, as well as getting into our demonstration of circular economy. So as we've been doing this great work, didn't know where it landed until we partnered with Case to see we were actually doing this work and didn't know we were doing it. So that's where we are and the things we are doing, but how can we make this more impactful through social marketing?
Thank you, Robin. That was another great question, and I believe a lot of parts actually would be actually fell into the brand's expertise, because, like, say, for example, you mentioned about how to deliver the message to inform more people to be able to value your decades of great work. So I would let Brian to answer this question.
Well, so we have like every time Robin and I meet, we find new opportunities and new things. I think the biggest sort of bandwidth or constraint right now is not having enough manpower here in our center for community health integration, not having enough social marketing, not manpower, people power. I'm kind of the only social marketer that I've identified here in the Cleveland area so far. So maybe we'll have to do a collaborative and bring in some expertise from somebody in Australia who wants to collaborate remotely on us and draw from your experience. I'm totally serious about that. So I'm going to go. Thank you, Robin and Doug. You're welcome to unmute if you want to add any of this, but I'll go ahead and read for you. So thanks, Doug. What are some? I believe this is about study 2. So what are some of the challenges you see of this program going to scale? Study 2, your pilot. Can this happen in Tampa, Florida? Doug, feel free to elaborate on Tampa, and is the entire program reliant on you? I think this has great potential. Hey, Doug.
So the Ms. Brown's comment also, I think that one of the things I've seen is as you plan your program, it's focusing on the behaviors that need to change. And the advantage I have is I took the social marketing certificate at the University of South Florida, and I was amazed at how important that the planning is. So even programs, but your program on e-waste, I am your target audience, but I'm instead of being in Australia, I'm in Tampa, Florida. And it's something that they've tried to do here, but it's pretty much a failure. So I think that your approach, how, you said, hey, I'll be there in 20 minutes. But the moment that you're not there, and this is something that Nancy Lee talks about in her book, is, when the social marketer leaves, will the program continue? So maybe some things that you're seeing. I also like that you said, again, you're iterating here. You're doing a pilot and you're finding barriers, and then you find a solution to the barrier to make the behavior happen. So I think that I also like your comment about virtual collaboration. With today's technology, just like today, right now, you're in Cleveland, I'm in Tampa, and you're in Australia. There's an opportunity to virtually collaborate on some of these ideas. I'm not going to go run pickup chargers in Cleveland or in Australia, but there may be ways to think about things virtually, and that's my comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Any I respond there?
Yeah, I think wow. I love our audience. That's why we always need to listen, right? So thank you very much, Douglas. It was great comment. And to answer your, let's say, feedback step by step, first, I agree with you. So there are regional differences, and then there are all the different methods, and also to respond to Robin, right? It was Robin's question about how to solve the problem. Basically, from the, let's say what framework process or the theoretical, kind of skills. We have CBE, we have creating collective solutions, we have 10-step, behavior change from Nancy Lee. I also took her online class, and it was absolutely amazing. So the thing is, the key point is we need to get it down to the action. It's like we have papers talking about intention. We have papers talking about how to change and what is the causes. And then I don't think that is a very difficult answer. It's just, get your hands down it. Go to the field and start changing. And of course, there will be great challenges in front of you. For example, I got complaint letters before I even started the campaign. And their policy, let's say, barriers and the funding challenges. I don't have enough funding. I have zero. And it's pretty, sad situation as a PhD candidate. For example, I think there's a huge gap after I graduate within a year. So before, after I submitted my thesis in October, and I need to wait at least maybe 6 months probably to get a formal doctorate degree before all the, addressing the feedback and, all the minor or major revisions or things. And then I don't know about US. In Australia, we are not really able to apply as a, let's say, principal investigator in the, kind of national grants. So we are able to touch along into the, grants as co-investigator or things. And also, I'm a PhD candidate. I have lots of to do. I want to do. And then we are to your second point about collaboration. We've been running great campaign with my e-waste almost without funding. It's just all the in-kind contribution from Social Marketing Research Center, from our e-waste recycling social enterprise, and then, but they are really doing so much little. It's a lot to it's great to start, but if you want to keep the momentum and make sure you always respond within 20 minutes, then we need a team. We need simple. We need the money. For example, I'm looking for opportunities for my research fellow to do my postdoc. If you have funding, money, I'm happy to do the work. The thing is, it is difficult to find funding. And then we also have kind of, let's say, people are interested in our research from Canada. They have a similar situation about battery leaking. And then they are interested about my result and want to collaborate with us. And we also set up all the, kind of online, let's say, trainings and also in-person trainings about all the methods or methodologies that we have in the social marketing at the research center. We have co-design, 7-step co-design. We have CBE process, co-create, build, engage. We have creating collective solutions, which would be my study 3. I will come into that. So all the different things, first step you learn, but that you need to make sure you're applying to. Otherwise, it's just with talking.
Well, that's a good segue because I keep my eye on the clock, but I did want to give you the chance to talk about, because I printed off a little homework, the creating collective solutions method. What would you like, what can you share with us about that in a few minutes if it's not doing you justice here to talk about study 3 and that if you want to emphasize the creating collective solutions, I think that's a neat method.
Thank you, Brian. So basically, my study 3 is completely different from my study 1, 2. Study 1, 2 would be more traditional way. So you're guided by theoretical framework and you do your, let's say, formative research interviews, pre, post test and trying to evaluate. And it took me almost 2 years and to get everything. But then the creating collective solutions is a new method in our research center. Basically, we're collaborating with the stakeholders, also responding to Robin's questions before. Basically, we're collaborating with different stakeholders, government level, fire agency, because battery cause fires, right? And then working with local city council, Sunshine Coast. So basically, they have had a regular fire caused by the losing batteries, vapes, and scooters. And then they heard my story. They asked for the collaboration. So basically, our research center, we're collaborating with them to run a CCS process. And then from that is consensus process to capture the insights from the community with one trigger question, which will be developed by entire case stakeholder team, and then use that, and then we capture the insight. That was over 300 feedback comments. We see actions or let's say ideas from the public, and then everyone, and then we basically filtering all these ideas by voting process with the experts, government sectors, firefighters, and also behavior researchers, and trying to, filter that into the top 12 priorities. And then using that top 12 priorities, one of those was running communication campaign, increasing the, e-waste, let's say battery drop-off bins or things like that. So what we did to actually, we were able to adopt 3 out of the 12, priorities, we say actions, into the following the safe battery disposal campaign in the Sunshine Coast area last year during the July. So from June to July. And so we did, all the marketing 4Ps, communication, delivering the message and trying to raise the impact awareness. And after 1 month campaign later, so with over 40 new drop-off points, and we achieved 3 times more, drop-offs, for people who have observed the campaign information. So that is very practical, and then it's not enough. Therefore, we are going to run again. So if you want to change the behavior, it has to be longitudinal. It has to be cross time. And so we're going to evaluate again this year, trying to apply more insights from the creating collective solutions, which we have been working with Australian Cancer Council. As you know, the skin cancer is a top in Australia.
Yeah.
We've been also working with the Asthma Australia, trying to, find the solutions, trying to basically reduce the, let's say, promote more knowledge, information to people who are with, people who have asthma or, as your friends and colleagues, how to deal with that. So it's all the kind of amazing things with this study 3. Thank you, Brian.
Well, we can keep going for another hour. You got a thumbs up or encouragement from Robin, and thank you, Robin. So I did, I photocopied a little bit of the case study from Christine and Jared's 4th edition, talking about you guys applying that method you just described. And I just, one of the reasons why I'm so excited and keep pursuing this idea of integrating the systems modeling with the social marketing is, like, often in social marketing, right, you only get one chance, and that's in the real world. Whereas we can create these virtual learning worlds with the systems modeling and figure out, experiment, run the what if scenarios, see, and to address Doug's point, how do you sustain this or how do you scale up? But you don't have to just wait and try it in the real world and put all your chips out there. You can experiment, run your what if scenarios in these virtual little worlds that we call our computer simulation tools, and learn, speed up the learning process by compressing time. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about integrating the marketing and the modeling. And I think this is not going to be the last time that we talk to each other.
No, it won't. And I'm really looking forward to work with you together in the social marketing base, for sure.
I think Robin may have put something in there. Would they be willing to collaborate? So I don't want to speak for you, but I'd be willing to collaborate with you. So, your October 2025, that's when you're cruising towards completing your PhD. Anything else that you want to share that you're working towards or excited about? I mean, I'm certainly going to be keeping my eyes open and thinking about you for opportunities that I see, regardless of geography, you said. So, and anything else we can help promote and get the word out about you and your great work. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. I would say first, thank you very much for joining us today. It is important to, raise awareness about system thinking or the impact that we can, all do together. And then let's say most important thing is put the actions down. So basically, if you have questions about e-waste, reach out to me. Feel free anytime. I always respond. And then also, if you want to learn about all the methodologies that we've been applying at the social marketing at Griffith, again, reach out to me. I'm also the International Social Marketing Association communication chair. So basically, I've been trying to collaborate with people from all the different regions. And if you have questions, again, always ask questions. This is how you start with everything. And you listen, you learn. And then third, if you want to collaborate, again, I'm here. So thanks
we know
again
each other
very
now,
much. Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic. I think we got everybody's comment and question in. I appreciate everybody being here and joining in. And so you and I will stay on maybe for a minute or 2 minutes after everybody else hops off to sort of debrief and talk about how quickly we can get this video trimmed up and put on the YouTube channel. And this was just an hour, so we can continue the conversation, hopefully in the LinkedIn group, or just contact you directly if you want to do that as well. So I see little hands clapping up in the air. So thanks for the encouragement from folks. So thanks everybody for being here. We'll stay on for a second to debrief with each other. So thank you everybody, and we'll get the video edited and put out there as quickly as we can. So thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you.